with video 7. So that is why most times, you know, if a person, let's say, wants to go to reach a higher status in society, in the corporate world, right, and they may become a Mason, or they may become a corporate Mason or a corporate Illuminati, right, and sell their soul, right, because what they're doing, they're selling their celestial energy, as they are avatar that represent that celestial house. So it's like they're selling their seat at the table, the celestial table, the galactic table, right? And they are given food by this world, right? The food, the wealth of what they see as the wealth of this world, the car, the money, the house, the bag, right? They sell their soul for the bag. They sell their seat at the celestial table for the bag on earth, to which once they spend so many years around the sun, maybe 60, 70, 20, 100, whatever, it's not, they still got to let go of the bag, what they sold their soul for. They sold their seat at the table, right, for a bag on earth, a shit bag on earth, right? And so just like they say, what is his name? It was Jacob and Esau, right? Each one of them sold their celestial, their basically sell their soul one to the other, their celestial birthright, right? Their seat at the table for a bowl of rock soup, a bag, right? And through so selling their seat at the table, that means they're going to represent, they're going to be the one to utilize the celestial knowledge and all the gifts that are given them at the table, and the energy, the power of the celestial power, and they got to be the one who sold their soul, got to use their life, right, to do the will of whatever jinn that they chose to give their soul to, right, and to be utilized. I mean, to whatever jinn they sold their seat at the celestial table for, too, right? To have that bag on earth, right? And then once they transcend, they got to give that bag back. They got to let that bag go, and then they have no seat at the table, at the celestial table, because they didn't prepare anything for themselves at that table, right? They let they sold their seat to the outcast creature, right? So that they could use that outcast creature, or that jinn could use their celestial power. Then once the person transcend, right? The jinn also has to no longer has that seat at the table, right? The celestial table, right? So he has to go try to find somebody else he can utilize their celestial seat at their table, their seat at the celestial table, right? So he can be fed the celestial energy, right? So the jinn-filled creature eats or utilizes to stay alive the celestial energy that is to be given to that individual who sold their seat at the table for a bag on earth, right? Okay? So once he no longer is able to feed off that soul, no longer he's fed that energy that's given to that person's soul, right? He goes and look for somebody else, right? And generally the only one who can pick up that, well, I can't say that, but so he eats this energy and he gives that bag on earth to the person whose soul, to the person who gave him their seat at the celestial table. But when that person transcends, they don't have a seat at the celestial table. They have a seat at hell. Right? That's where their seat is going to be. They're not going to have a seat in heaven at the celestial table, right? Because they took their rewards from the outcast creature, and which was very limited, right? Whereas their seat at the celestial table was going to be everlasting, right? Okay. So one has to protect their seat at the table, right? Okay. One has to protect their seat. One has to protect their celestial seat at the celestial table, right? Because what did the prophet born? What was it said of time of old? I go to prepare a table, a seat at the table. I go to prepare a seat at the table, a celestial seat, whereby you will be fed celestial energy, celestial power. Your soul will be sustained by Allah, giving you, having prepared a everlasting life for the individual, right? They will have, they will have, wealth. I don't want to say the word wealth, but they will have those things needed to sustain them and it all throughout all eternity. So imagine if someone lives, throughout all eternity, think about what they will need, how much they will need, right? Okay, so if one going to live in hell all of eternity, right? And they sold their soul, right? Right? Um, well, we won't go hell, but let's say in eternity, there's a person has to have a lot of, resources in order to be sustained throughout all eternity. So think about what one gives up for a bag. Think about how much they give up at the, you know, from the at the that they will be given at the celestial table, that they will have at the celestial table. Think about what they're giving up. When they give up their seat at the celestial table, that, think about all the amount of, rewards, accommodations they're going to be giving up for a bag on earth. It's nothing. The bag is nothing. Selling one's soul is not worth it. Okay, so now everybody is a Leroy, right? Everybody is a Leroy. Okay? So we said every illuminated one has a potential to be a Leroy. Okay? But they cannot, right? They must, become, they must learn and grow, and learn to master themselves, utilizing divine celestial knowledge, right? Okay. So in order to do, they must know themselves, right? So mankind cannot teach one. Mankind cannot teach one another. Wait, mankind cannot teach another man. They can only teach them so much about themselves, okay? Mankind cannot completely teach another man about the divine knowledge of himself. For such divine knowledge of thyself, one must seek thyself and the unification of the divine that is encrypted within themselves, right? So you learn about yourself through your gifts and your talents. And you will learn about where you fit in, where your gifts and talents fit in the celestial creation of life, right? You will learn where you fit in based upon your gifts and talents. You will figure out where you fit in the celestial sphere based upon your gifts and talents. You will know where you fit in. It comes natural. You will find your place once you find out who you are. Once you find out who you are, you'll find your purpose. Because you'll naturally want to do it, because you'll naturally want to be yourself, and the more you do it, the better you're going to be, and the better you're going to love being you, and so the more you're going to want to do it, because it makes you happy, makes you feel good, right? Okay, and lets you be able to see yourself. Okay, so, and another man can't teach you that, right? They can't teach you about things that are unknown to them and to yourself. Only the Creator can do that. So they can only teach you so much. So that's why, any book can only take you so far. Even the Quran can only take you so far. Because at some point you have to depend on Allah and let Allah guide you. I like to say Allah is the thinker and we are the doers, right? We are the doers and Allah is the thinker, right? That is why the cardinal body of man has to submit his will. The Muslim submits their will to Allah. That is for Allah to guide their life, and they do what Allah tells them to do. Submit the will to Allah. Submit the free will to Allah for Allah to guide them. They trust Allah for Allah to guide them, even to the things that person may want in order to fulfill their destiny, right? Their destiny of divine illumination and reincarnation into the cosmic galactic family, right, of creation, right? Okay, so now, the year of the dragon, 1445, 1446, 2024 is all about thyself, the divine you, the Kundalini dragon that is rising from the root to the head, right? The unification of the south, north, and south node, right? Okay. The head and the body, the male and the female, the heart and the mind, right? Divine feminine, a divine masculine, and the divine feminine, right? The reunification, okay? And the reunification of the divine masculine and feminine becoming one, the north and south node becoming one, becoming a whole body, the dragon becoming whole, as it relates to the Kundalini representing the dragon, right? Into the transcending the 33rd vertebrae and into the pineal gland to become awake, to become an illuminated one, right? No longer a monster, right? No longer becoming a monster, right, but becoming a man. That's reflective of the Phenix in the Alkebulan, right, in Kemet, right, in Egypt, in Masri, right, as it relates to head and the body, right, the beast of the body representing the moon star and the head representing the illuminated one of the Phenix, right. Okay, now and thus man is resurrected, right? Okay, once it become whole, right? You reunify, resurrected, reborn, right? Okay, so the Kundalini, the dragon, the year of the dragon is the rising within thy divine self of the divinely, that is the divinely created you, to become the divinely created you, from head, okay, so it says, from the head to the toe, you are to be developed, reborn, right? Reborn. You are to be made whole. That is the head, the reuniting with the body. Made whole, complete, resurrected, filled with the Holy Spirit, right? The holy consciousness, the gnosis, right? The divine consciousness, right? To become complete, infinitely complete. That is eternal life at the celestial table, right? Where you will have abundance, right? Because you will need abundance to be able to survive forever, right? Okay. So, 2024 equals 8, right? The 8 represents infinity, right? So, the infinite soul, it's about the infinite soul, the infinite eternal life, right, is what 2024 is about. Celestial knowledge, right, of the eternal self. So, and as we said, in doing so, there is opposition to this, right? Because if the mankind is to live eternally, right, and divinely, that means who's going to starve? Who's going to be denied a seat at the celestial table? It's going to be the Jinn-filled dragon, especially after he was kicked out of Jannah, out of the heavens, not out of Jannah, but out of the heavens, right? He was kicked out of the heavens, right, on what, September 15th, right, as it relates to the second part of Revelation. So he's kicked out. So who's going to starve? Him. So what is he trying to do? He's trying to make man starve first by destroying the water, destroying the air, destroying the food, the livestock, buying up all the farms so that he can make man dependent on him. Not because he can't eat, because food don't mean nothing to him. He needs soul. He needs energy. And he wants to mark his chattel, right? He wants to mark those who sell out, those he thinks he owns, right? With the 666, negative 666, right? The carbon lacking, the DMT lacking 666. The Antichrist lacking, the Antichrist 666. The negative 666, not the positive carbon 666, right? Okay. So when he wants to mark his property with the 666, so he can feed off their soul and that of their children, because he does no longer have a seat at the celestial table to feed off the energy, the celestial energy that is given to those people whose place he takes. He buys their souls and gives them all the wealth of this that he thinks is of this world. And then when they transcend, he tries to take it back. Have you ever noticed why Hollywood has so many celebrities, and then next thing you know, they're so-called either sacrificed or they are fallen from grace in Hollywood, right? because he's trying to get the bag back. Because he recycles the shit bag. It's recycled. He takes it from one and gives it to another because he only gets so much. The earth only has so much wealth. So he's got to take it from one. What did he take from Peter to pay Paul? And Peter means patah. Peter means patah. So Peter means Egypt, right? And we already went through the spelling of Egypt, right? Hikapata, right? Hikapata representing the capital. Every place has a capital. Every place has a hikapata. Every capital is represented by Egypt, right? Masli, right? Kemet. So there's only so much wealth to go around, right? So he takes it, right? The Antichrist is represented by the Vatican, Rothschild Vatican. Because if you want to know the truth, Christianity is a Western religion. The knowledge is not Western. No, it's Eastern. But the construct of Christianity is Western. Christianity came out of Judaism, right? As it relates to the knowledge, the celestial knowledge of Judaism, right? As it relates to Prophet Abraham, right? So it's a counterfeit Judaism. It's the synagogue of Satan, whereby it would deceive half the world, making you think that Caesar Borgia is Christ, and Christ was a European. The Christ of Christianity is a European, because Christianity is a European religion. It's the synagogue of Satan. Christianity is a synagogue of Satan, right? Now, I'm just telling you the truth, because it's a counterfeit Judaism, as it represents Isaac, right? It represents the Saracens, the Kemites Saracens, right? Well, I won't say the Kemite Saracens, but it represents the Saracens, as Ishmael represents the Moors, Muslims, right? But they're both sons of Abraham, to which both are entitled to the Holy Land, right? As descendants of, as the story is told, as descendants of Abraham. So by trying to call the Palestinians infidels and all this, the Palestinians are entitled to the land too, as with the Jews are, the Hebrew Israelites, my people, right? As we are brothers, the Muslims and the Jews were brothers and sisters, were family of Prophet Abraham. Okay, so okay, so make sure. Oh, we're getting ready to change to video 8. Okay, so now, oh, I gotta be careful. Okay, so now, as we said, so it's a year of the dragon. So he only thinks he only has a year, right? He only has a year. So he's going to be doing a lot. Expect a lot this year. 2024, expect a lot. A lot. You got to hold on to your grit. You got to hold on to your grit, because this beast is going to be, he's going to be trying to deceive a lot of people, because he knows his time is really short. So he's going to try to deceive a lot. Oh, so going back to Christianity. Christianity is the as it's the fake Zionists, the Nazis. And Zionists are not Jews. So don't go trying to attach anti-Semitism to when I say or somebody else says Zionism. No, Zionism represents a national. A Nazi is one who represents a national Zionist ideology, as started by, I think, Theodor Herzl, and he was an atheist. Theodor Herzl was an atheist. Ooh, okay. Ooh. So Theodor Herzl was an atheist, okay? Okay. Okay, so we're going to have to go to video 8.